Welcome everyone, Costin here with Nakari in Total War Warhammer 3, and in this particular video I am going to be going over Nakari's early game. Basically, I'm going to play Nakari's campaign in the early game, stabilize the situation, deal with the issues that Nakari has. This is the kind of campaign where you need to be very aggressive and successful in the early game if you want to have any chance in the campaign, because if you waste time, then Alariel, Tarion, and Alfarian will just gank up on you and annihilate you. Now, let's look at the diplomatic situation. I do start on a non-aggression pact with Marathi, but I'm also going to use this opportunity to join in her war against the minor Dark Elven faction she starts her war with, get some money, get the trading agreement, start building some seductive influence. I would also do the same with Noctilus, but the reality is I kind of want to buy myself a bit of time before declaring, before ending up in a war with Tarion. Also, I may want to wipe out Noctilus from the campaign map to just get control over all of Ulthuan for myself and my vassals over here. You also start with the cult over here in Safari, and you can get a trade agreement pretty damn quickly from the very start of your campaign with Safari, but that isn't actually a good idea because Safari is a minor faction. What you really want as vassals are major factions to be your vassals, not minor factions. So I'm going to get the Dance of Dreaming. Nakari is one of the few legendary lords that actually benefits from the difficulty level, the public order situation, because your income can go higher if you have poor control. Generally, you will have very high control playing as Nakari, so actually getting the control downside here can help you out because it will generate more income, and because of Slaaneshi corruption, you're very unlikely to ever face a full rebellion. In fact, you have one diktat. You have one particular structure that does affect your control, and you also have the pleasure arena, which gives you 20% income from all buildings that cost you 50 control. You may want to use that, though. Bear in mind it does cost devotees, and you're probably going to want to save that. Your income early on is fine. That isn't really the issue in this campaign, though. You may want to wait until building those structures to figure out how much money you're going to have. Now, research-wise, you probably want to get enriching toil to get that 25% income from sacking settlements. There are, of course, other benefits as well, but growth isn't really an issue. Some of these are locked on. And out of all the initial ones, I would certainly argue that getting income from sacking settlements is the most important thing. Also, income from raising settlements. Well, raising settlements is not too important, but what you really want to get is the seduce unit budget plus 50% pretty quickly. Now, you have an army of Chrace, and you also have the garrison of Chrace. In an ideal world, you deal with them, though you can always attack Chrace directly, though just bear in mind there are, of course, downsides. Now, over here with this particular army, what you want to do is seduce this unit of Illyrian Reavers. Just eliminate them from the battlefield. This is on Legendary very hard, so seduce them, deal with the archers using them, and use your army to deal with everything else, specifically your demonettes, your marauders. Try and ensure that Nakari himself doesn't really take a lot of damage in this battle. So they're likely going to deploy somewhere in the woods. We're going to deploy our entire army here. Just be careful with Nakari's own damage. Demonettes also can take a lot of damage, so we probably just want to throw the Marauders. The Marauders you don't really care about. They're the most worthless units in your entire arsenal. Everything else, though, is pretty valuable, though, of course. The Illyrian Reavers are the throwaway units over here. So let's try and figure out where they are and throw our army against them. Okay, let's slow down a bit. Now, Nakari does have a bit of an issue. Okay, let's slow down because we're going to take a lot of damage otherwise. Charge our units into the Spearmen. We don't really want to end up fighting the Spearmen because they'll do a lot of damage to a lot of our units here.
No one faster.
If we're not careful.
Attack!
Alright, send those units over there. The Fiends of Slaanesh. And we're gonna use the devastating flanker effect of quite a lot of our units to great effect over here. These guys are basically breaking. She's almost dead. The chariots here will hit the spearmen with devastating flanker and do a significant amount of damage.
Souls.
Let's pull those fellows out. Pull the chariots out. And the entire elven armies should start breaking here. Don't let them get away. Try and do as much damage as possible over here in this before they get away. If you can kill everyone, just kill everyone. You have some of the fastest units in the game. You can really do a good job at mopping up units when they're trying to flee the battlefield. And there we go, decisive victory. So minimal damage in this battle, as well as a decent amount of favor, though I could always go with the devotees. I think I will actually go for them in this particular situation. Now I've gained rank 2 with Nakari and with my cultist over here. I'm going to get the increased mobility on the cultist. On Nakari, I am going to get the leadership benefit because I'll be able to get rank 3 quickly. Never go for Alesia first, always go for Chrace. The reason you want to go for Alesia last is because you want to subjugate Chrace, but you don't want to subjugate them their capital. You want their capital for yourself. Instead, it's better, much better, to have Alesia as the settlement that Chrace will have. Now over here you can see there's quite a few archers. You want to seduce some of these units. Keep in mind you do have a budget for this, and you can only go to 2,800. If you try and seduce spearmen, that's always going to be the more expensive choice. So it's best to just seduce these 2 units. So that leaves them with 4 archer units that you're going to have to deal with over here. Now the layout of Chrace is something that's going to make the siege difficult. So here is Chrace. There is, simply put, no really good location where you can attack this element without taking damage from the walls. That's what makes attacking this element difficult, because the towers are going to cover a wide angle of approaches over here. Like you have a tower here hitting you here, you have a tower here. I'd argue in quite a few ways that the best approach is right here at this tower, because yes, you do have the tower here, but it's just one tower that's going to hit you. And you take all of your infantry, demonettes, Nakari himself, you rush for this gate. You don't want to send Nakari for the gate, bear that in mind. But you do want to use Nakari's massive melee ability to break down the gate quickly. And you want to use your archers over here to try and do some damage there. Nakari is the kind of lord you obviously want to be very, very careful about, very mindful of the fact that he does have a low level of armor, so he's going to take a lot of damage from these elves.
It will be done. Quickly now. Apace. Asa, move.
So use that lovely whip of Slaanesh. Now, what do you do with the rest of your army? Well, you go attack this gate. It should be undefended. You want to deploy here, by the way. And I should have moved those guys earlier. The archers are going to struggle to achieve anything here, but I did eliminate them. You could also fight this battle multiple times if you have enough money for it, by the way. That way, I don't know if you can seduce multiple times, to be quite honest. Okay, so once the gate is gone, you don't send Nakari for the gate, by the way. You send these guys for the gate. You might actually just spare the demonettes and also send them here. Keep Nakari on this side, just save Nakari. and send everything. The reason Nakari is so worthless in a lot of ways in this particular battle comes down to the simple fact that Nakari is just not going to do very, very well in this kind of situation, because the Spearman will obviously do, as a large target himself, will obviously do quite a lot of damage to him, or her, or it, whatever you want to use there. But yeah, send your Marauders for this particular gate. That should buy you enough time. Try not to take too much damage over here. You can also send Nakari, but it's actually probably best in a lot of ways to send Nakari on a flanking trip, or just wait around here casting spells, debuffing the enemy. Doing damage with Nakari spells here, while your cavalry breaks through the gate there. Now Nakari is taking some damage there. Okay, I'm just gonna wait with the demons. You don't want to have too many units piling on the gate. That's a surefire way of taking a significant amount of damage. So I'm just gonna wait for the Winds of Magic. Once the chariots and here are doing a lot of damage, like once they take down the gate, we'll have our entry point into the city. Let's pull the cultist back. She's certainly taking a lot of damage there. And keep using the Nakari spells. Doing damage to the Spearmen. And the gate is broken. Let's send the Demonettes into the melee fray through here. The cavalry over up here. Our goal is to deal with the archers. She might be stuck in a bad situation there, actually. I could obviously use a spell, or I can get those cavalry units. She's probably going to break, unfortunately. There we go. That will save her. So heavy flankers coming in. Alright, Demonettes coming in as well. Let's pull the chariots through, because they can go through. And it's time to send Nakari into the fray as well. As the Demonettes also arrive. Oh, okay, these guys just decide to be really freaking stupid about it. Keep charging, that's the key here. Alright, send the chariots in there. Alright, send the charging units there, get the chariots back in. Well, she ran in. Still taking a lot of damage, undeniably so. Let's hit them with a spell here.
To the next victory! to our will. Slanesh decrees it.
Alright, we want to hit those guys right there.
Sin and depravity. Demonettes. Perfection.
Okay, don't let them regroup. Gonna get these demonettes out.
Now!
Alright, demonettes are eliminated. It is a bit unfortunate, but it is manageable. Get the chariots in there. Spearmen eliminated there. Alright, if we kill their lord here, it is all GG. There we go. Just kill their lord. That's the one unit of demonettes, but otherwise perfectly manageable losses.
Loot. The Tempter Lord.
Now, over here, I'll want to get rid of the structure. I'll want the proper economic structure. I'll get this to tier 2. Get the income benefit. And get some devoted marauders with spears. That's all we're gonna recruit until we can get the Forsaken in 2 turns. Okay, you get the melee attack benefit over here from Nakari. We could also push this to a rebellion if we really wanted to. But I don't want it right now.
Drink in my excellence.
Though, of course, 20 control would certainly not be bad either. But it would be 300. So you don't have any way of improving casualty replenishment. That is going to be one of the major downsides here. We also get to deal with Cothique early on. Lovely. Alright, that would count as a Pyrrhic victory. We of course want the Lodran Sea Guards with shields on our side. How about both of them? That would be a significant amount of money, but we can't afford it. And these guys are just gonna soak all the damage for us. Okay.
It shall be done.
So just send these guys in the front, keep these guys in the back, because they took a lot of damage. So move them here so I don't accidentally click them. Try not to take any damage on Akari, be aware of the spells, and just win the day. Easy stuff.
Spears! Lothern Sea Guard, without fail. Moving out.
Okay, they're over yonder.
Experiences we shall share. Are you ready?
Let's speed this up. So the most substantial part of their army is under my control. Well, that was a bit unfortunate. That they stopped because they couldn't see them anymore. That's right. Let's send Akari in, the Demonettes in.
We away!
For orders!
Bring us souls!
Time.
Northern Sea Guard, for Assyrian!
We hunt!
Surging on!
Slash!
If you're gonna lose something,
Attack!
Fast!
alright, pull back Akari here because we do want to use the devastating flanker effect there.
Bring us souls!
Get the chariots.
Yes! How delicious!
Onward!
Northern Sea Guard, weapons ready! For the king!
For Slaughter himself! Guided by hunger! Soul trigger!
Sin and depravity!
Alright, they're breaking there.
Bringing Anton!
We yearn
Subtle servants of Sinnelleos!
Send these against the spearmen.
to Kari!
Feeding our addiction!
For honor! Pain and despair!
Ravage them!
Their chariots should be able to
As
break
you
them
said,
there.
We will obey! Northern Sea Guard! Seeking Slaaneash's embrace! It will be done! For Ulthuan!
We must! Hands of
Okay.
Forerunners of Slaughter!
God whispers of glory!
To the next victory!
Kari! Yes! Souls for slaughter! Lacerate them!
Right, that's the battle won.
The Tempter Lord.
And this is giving me obviously a lot of devotees over here. We are going to force march Nakari here. And I'll recruit the second army over here in Chrace. Herald of Slaanesh would give you a powerful caster combination, and of course you can eventually get a keeper from that, which is pretty powerful. But Chaos Lord also has its own benefits. And as far as I see it, Chaos Lord is just really, really good to have just their durability in battle, which you are certainly lacking. We can get some trade resources, but first we are going to get more income.
I bring Azurians.
This day gets worse and...
So Chrace won't turn against you.
Let's hear it.
Druki nobility.
What?
Ruth.
Now, one of the things I could do over here
Greet you.
is just manipulate this situation to my advantage by declaring war on... Ooh. This would be sweet. No. This would... Like, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of money to be made. Lots of potential to be had. But if you want to absolutely piss off Morathi, who is the much better prize, don't do this. It's just a bad idea. In a significant number of ways.
Agreeable.
Yes.
Give the word.
Just really, really don't. It's a horrible idea. You will regret your life decisions if you do so. So, Nakari is going to move over here. We're gonna give her more Root Marcher and Thick Skinned to get that replenishment sort out. And next turn we can start recruiting. We could get that 10 control benefit. And I think at this point it probably would be worth the cost. It will last 5 turns. Yeah. Let's go for it. Just really reduce the recruitment costs over here. Don't know if I want to global recruit. How much is a Forsaken? It's quite a bit, so it's probably in my interest over here to not do that right now. It is gonna last 5 turns after all. Now, I can always declare war on the Western High Elven factions and get money from the Dread Fleet, but I think I'm going to wait for that, because I think Terranok and Kalador will survive long enough for me to come into conflict with Terrian for that to not matter anymore. Alright, so Chrace does have an army there. And does also have an army here. I don't have enough movement points to attack them directly. But instead, what I am going to do is transfer these units to Nakari. And we'll also join forces. And then I'll also use the cult. I can get more money through the diplomatic dealings.
Lord of Fear.
The Scourge of Cain is not the kind of faction you necessarily want.
Can I offer?
No.
Ready the lever. I will listen to the groveling peon.
It would give me just a mere 1,000 for that. Alfarian could give me more money against Skullcrag.
The waste stones cannot be safe until your head.
Well, a decent one at any rate.
For soul.
So we want to take Cothique's capital first. Though, as you might imagine, that can be a problem. We do have the ability of summoning a disciple army, but it's not necessarily something I want to do. Not until Nakari has gained the full stack of troops and the disciple army is actually going to be worth it, because then we're just going to screw ourselves over when it comes to summoning a disciple army against Alfarian. We will have enough disciples for both of them. That's not the issue. The issue is the cooldown that you're triggering when you're summoning a disciple army with Nakari. Now, this is kind of the worst situation that can happen to Nakari over here, because as you see over here, Cothique has moved its entire, has recruited a lot of units here. Sometimes they'll move this their army over here at Misnar, but basically if we can win this battle, I think I have no choice at the moment but to summon this disciple army. It is going to be a hefty price, but
Your presence sullies.
so be it.
Cruel and deadly. My time and temper, malevolent law.
Be quick.
Really? Where's my madness?
Morathi.
Not worth it. So the disciple army, yeah, it's got a lot. In point of fact, this could work brilliantly for me if I could win this battle without having to call in troops here.
Bring ruin.
Or I could always take the view that we can just win this battle, throw away the disciple army. The cooldown is 5 turns. That's not gonna be great.
Exquisite decadence.
Alright, so we're gonna...
Savor.
Actually, we're gonna just pull back a bit here.
Beyond even Quraysh.
Most privileged of Slan.
Or just send this army here. That has a lot of archers. It isn't a battle we can win. Or we shouldn't win. Of glory, there are obviously going to be some problems here. Between the towers, the gates, the elven archers as well. Thankfully, this is the kind of settlement where you can do something like this pretty easily. How do you win this specific battle? Well, there are various ways. I know that those guys are going to attack that gate. I'm going to deploy my units here. They're not supposed to win. They're, however, going to serve as a very, very useful distraction for my guys. Nakari is quite the gate buster. Some people are saying, some people have the sentiments like, well, you should always need rams. I'm like, a Great Redeemer of Slaanesh is probably a damn fine good gate buster in its own right. So, okay. Looking at the situation, there is one archer unit there, maybe multiple archer units there they have deployed. You might, but the majority of the enemy force is on this side. When there's about 30 seconds or so left, or actually, let's just go right now. Because I am going to send these guys, and I am going to send all of these guys, except the Demonites, because I obviously don't want to lose them, to bust down the gate there. The reason I send these guys, it's important to do so, because if you don't, the AI is just going to look at this situation and be like, oh, their enemy is going to flank us. You obviously want for your units here to be able Okay, so Nakari and the Forsaken have done damage to the gate, but they're not gonna go through that gate, by the way. They're gonna go through that one.
Slash. I shall dance.
Now I'm gonna turn off guard mode for all of my units, move all these guys forward, get the cavalry to move on this particular side, get Nakari and the units that Nakari has to attack there. Now I need to be careful with Nakari. And the goal will be to take the objective point. Now these guys will lose here, to be absolutely clear, but I don't necessarily care about these guys. Let's send the Lateran Sea Guard. Oh, that was not the wisest move. The only units I really care about are maintaining the Forsaken. So you can see the AI is deploying forces to deal with my little counter attack, to deal with my little attack there. That is just too much.
For order.
faster.
Get Nakari out.
The debauched ones. Acknowledged. Seekers! The debauched ones! Seekers of Slanesh! Spreading temptation!
Alright, send these guys here. Alright, they've taken too much damage. Pull them back, pull them back.
Surging on! Supple servants of Slanesh!
Get the Forsaken out there too as well.
Sent by Slanesh! Sing unto brevity!
Seekers!
Marauders of Slanesh! I need souls! Fresh souls required!
Hand demon of
I can afford to take some casualties here. It's really this early game situation that's the problem.
To the next
The important part
beacon of depravity! Bend to our will!
consume them!
Captivating and horrifying!
Tear
is I break through the barricade and I take the victory point here.
Demon of Slanesh!
the safety!
No one faster!
Demones!
Vermin!
A true thrill!
There we flit!
But that bloody barricade needs to go down quickly.
fresh stone.
Northern Sea Guard. Ulthuan.
So I sacrificed all my marauders there for victory,
The beguiling!
basically.
Strike. Marauders of Slaanesh.
Ravage them!
Bring us souls.
Sweet suffering awaits! Seekers of Slaanesh! Pain is a gift! A dance of pain!
Souls for Slaanesh. Spears, guided by hunger. Marauders!
Right. So just take the victory point, win the day. And everything else I did in battle was just that, the distraction. If I had not summoned the cultist army, chances are I could have just, yeah. Of course, I would have had to deal with this many archers with Nikari's army, which is always a bit of fun experience, I gotta say. But it certainly would have been manageable. And there we go, our sneaky attack succeeded. And even if I had deployed proper troops here from the very start, Vlad slaughtered a lot of them. Just get on with it. Okay. Winning sieges against a massed ranged army is a nightmare. Pay about no casualty replenishment, but we'll just loot and occupy it.
Most privileged of Slaanesh.
I wonder.
Behold my
No.
Don't stop!
The Tempter Lord.
Okay.
Taste flesh.
So quite a few casualties there.
Hunger for souls. The Tempter
Let's repair that. We do have a skill to help us against the elves, but we first we do need to deal with all of this. Fun stuff. Okay, so I want to get this to tier 2, which will take a couple of turns. I'm not really in a rush. Forsaken will help me handle the situation with Tyrion and all that.
Even the law master could not.
Okay, just the garrison there.
No act too unspeakable, no taunt too delicious.
Slaneshi herald, delectable bloodshed. Sweet, sweet suffering.
Lord of Slanesh, give yourself to Slanesh, body and soul. Eternal taster. Let me show you a life without limits.
I bring you auric death.
Time to sit.
Yeah, this does suck. Having to deal with this. I didn't realize this had a garrison. Of all the people to throw an early garrison battle for, Makari is probably one of the worst ones. Anyway, I'll just wait a bit
For the coming massacre. Relish.
over here for Nakari to actually show up, then throw these guys. I don't care if all of these guys die there, it's not important. I can always summon another cultist army. Though ideally I do obviously well, we could just sneak around, capture the victory point. Much fun. Much fun. I think I will try and capture the victory point. Actually, I'll send the cavalry units here as well to help Nakari.
Marauders of Slanesh! Driven by pain, finding fresh souls.
Just wait a bit.
I need souls.
Marauders!
Cultist of Slanesh. Sweet suffering awaits.
Guided by hunger.
Driven by pain.
Marauders of Slanesh.
Endless craving.
Marauders!
None can
I'll try and keep her alive. Look at Nakari go.
Tempter.
He's in his element.
worship Jornal.
House Riders! Marauders of Slanesh!
So they'll hold on for a decent amount of time. There aren't a mass of ranged units here to just slaughter the whole lot of them. And I think they might even be able
Now!
to survive a fair amount.
Cultist of Slanesh.
Yes! No one faster.
Dark whispers of glory.
Marauders of Slanesh!
I'm not sure what's worse, having a full stack of Cothique troops in their capital, or having it here. Pretty bad either way.
Sauntering.
So let's take that point,
House Riders!
capture it even faster there.
Slanesh. Captivating and horrifying. The Dark Princess servant. Behold magnificence.
Ah! Agreed. Nakari moves.
Now all the elves need to do in order to win in this situation is just hold one, yes, one control point. That's all they require.
Attack!
Moving.
The pangs of suffering! Marauders! Kill! Kill!
Your desires are mine.
Finding fresh souls! Spears!
Oh, so they actually can fight outside of their settlements.
Souls. Kai.
The serpent strikes.
Okay. So we killed their leader there.
Worship Jornal. Bend to our will. Bringing suffering.
Spearmen! On the hunt! Guided by hunger!
Make them scream.
What do you want?
Kill her, debuff their leadership.
Marauders of Slanesh!
Endless craving! We flee! Marauders of Slanesh!
A captivating mind.
We want them to split their forces like this.
Do not touch the Kari.
Like, I can beat them in melee, it's no problem.
Marauders!
So take that victory point.
Bring us souls.
Drinking pain!
Marauders. Kari.
Death through sensation.
Alright, take down those archers.
Marauders of Slanish. Yes. Kari. Slash.
Beacon of depravity!
Okay, Nakari is gonna need to go on this side to help the fight there.
Bend to our will. Pain is a gift.
To safety!
Forsaken coming in. Nakari coming in.
Drinking pain!
They are gonna manage to slow me down here.
Spears!
Marauders on the hunt. Seeking Slanesh's embrace.
Spread decadence and depravity.
Souls.
Who
of
knows?
Slanesh. We hunt.
Decadent thinkers
Nope, hold back.
of pain. A true thrill. A flurry of talents.
To the next victory! Tear throats!
I shall dance.
They've used a lot of their ammunition there.
Charge. Tasmagoria.
Souls for Slanish! Marauders!
Alright, pull back over here.
Hellstriders of Slanish!
Avatar of torment.
Glittering
Marauders of Slanish. Kari.
the bloody heart!
Alright, send those marauders there.
They pain and despair!
And let's try and flank them here.
Marauders of Slanish!
That was a bad idea.
Eternal hunters!
Kari.
Excess in all things. Torture
Oh, we
them.
won here. Interesting.
Cultist of Slanesh.
Onward. Now, into power of Slanesh. Arch Tempter. Yes.
Hunt them down!
Moving.
Enjoy your death. The Purple Herald.
To the next
Alright,
victory.
take these guys and hit that other.
Bring us souls!
location. While I use the cultists.
Your desires are mine.
There we go. Victory. Bloody, miserable affair, but victory.
They will take the most privileged of Slanesh. Slaneshi Herald, I yearn to go.
March, my children. Lord of Slanesh.
Though I hate you with a
Count.
Noble boy.
What in the world is Elfarian doing? I mean, this is unmodded, legendary. Like, he should have taken some territory by now, I gotta say.
Ecstasy. Give yourself to sleep.
I'm just gonna do a bunch of global recruitment there. Although, I might live to regret that particular decision.
Lord of
Burn the coastline.
Mistress.
Really? The chopper is in my hand. So
I don't want the peace tree there.
flotilla. What you want? Drink in my excellence. For the Dark Prince.
Although, yeah, I think I'd rather not spend my money there. Instead, I could take my cultist here and just establish a cult. But I kind of need her for the campaign movement range.
Only the Grail companions of old could hope to best me.
cruel.
Okay. So Elfarian has finally managed to capture the first territory in his starting province. But the timing here is actually, could be good, could be bad. Depends on a number of factors. Because if I can catch him in a situation where his army is out of position, then that would obviously be the most ideal scenario for me. Hey Musalan, what you doing with that massive army?
Moving out. I shall have vengeance on them.
Okay, we're gonna take the demonettes here. Move him to the very edge of this territory. Move Nakari. Although that's risky. But I'm also pretty certain that
The Dark Prince chooses you. You reek of anguish or hopelessness.
yeah.
Black. Fear.
I can smell your fear. I always can when your kind approach.
That would be an emergency fund right there. Yes, I'm gonna treat Noctilus giving me money for that as an emergency fund. So Nakari is gonna come here. I could recruit another lord, but yeah, just get more Forsaken here.
I
So Alfarian's main army is here.
High Elven Archmage.
And that is another great and glorious battle that awaits Nakari over here. But honestly, the hardest part has passed because right now I have enough to use a cultist army. Once the cooldown passes, I have a full stack. So they can't defeat me in the open field at this point. You're on your own, my dude. Now hopefully they can hold the Phoenix Gate for a decent amount of time. Now sometimes Alariel may take the Phoenix Gate earlier, Alfarian may do things faster, those kind of things.
Let me imbibe your essence.
I guess it's...
Divine immortality.
Trained
Well,
by the white.
one of the things I can do
Courtesan of the pleasure god.
is just scout here. There is Alfarian. He's not recruiting anything at the moment.
Where's my madness?
Cruel.
Favored.
Well, that decision is gonna come in a later video. I think ideally though, just to cap this video off, ideally, like if you attack if I were to attack Alfarian here, that would not be a good idea. Now, of course, I'm a bit on a timer, all that kind of stuff, right? Because
Magic in purest
this
form.
army is taking casualties.
I bring Azurian.
But if I attack him here, I bloody well better be ready for attack. I also have 2 turns until that. I could wait. Genuinely, I could wait over here.
Master of magic.
And instead...
Where's my madness? Come and die.
Black Heart.
and instead wait for him 1 turn 2 at most. Wait for him until he's moved out of his settlement. Move this army closer, or recruit more Forsaken with it to help my situation. But remember, I am still against the clock, but still, there are various possibilities. The fight against Chrace and Cothique, though, is the hardest part of this entire campaign, I would argue, by far and away.
What vile...
Anyway, Costin here, signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications, and stay tuned for more. This is gonna be a hell of a campaign, I gotta tell you. And next video, I'll deal with Alfarian and deal with Alariel, maybe, and Tyrion. Gotta make the right moves.